Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to your front, on either side or where the bands are standing, is displayed the regimental crest. It's called the Genda Barunda. We shall talk about Genda Barunda subsequently in detail. Ladies and gentlemen, the parade proceedings have commenced. If you look to your left, you can see the 4 trumpeters of the 61st Cavalry Regiment mounted on magnificent grey horses coming on parade to the accompaniment of a subdued roll of drums by the band. The trumpeters are Lance Dafadar D.V. Dutal, astride Shaktiman, Savadar Rajendra Singh, astride Hans, Savar Vikram Bhalekar, astride Sunita, Savar Anil Kumar, astride Twilight. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to your left, you can see the worthy Major of 61st Cavalry, Naib Risaldar Tehsin Ali, astride Searchman, now trotting up onto the parade ground to take up his assigned position. In a short while from now, he will bring the entire regiment on parade. The worthy Major is the JSU Adjutant, who is the right-hand man of the Adjutant of the regiment and is responsible for the execution of all orders passed for the regiment by the Adjutant. Naib Risaldar Tehsin Ali is an outstanding equitation instructor who's had a very successful and fulfilling tenure at Equitation Wing of the RVC Central School, Meerut.
Trumpeter! Darshak Kal Bajab!
The worthy Major has ordered the trumpeters to play the tune for the right markers of the squadrons and the regimental Dafadar Major to come on parade. The band is playing Vijay Bharat. The right markers as they come on parade are Dafadar Sultan Singh, astride Tanhai, Dafadar Bhavar Singh, astride Enigma, Dafadar Bhoom Singh, astride Mastana, and Regimental Dafadar Major Padam Singh, astride Marshal. Worthy Major is now getting the markers to dress from the right with the assistance of the Regimental Dafadar Major.
Trumpeter! Line 1 Bajab!
The worthy Major has ordered the trumpeters to play the tune for getting the entire regiment on parade. There you see them, ladies and gentlemen, the Savars of the 61st Cavalry Regiment trotting onto the parade ground, ever so handsome in their ceremonial regalia, accompanied by the tune of Colonel Bogie being played by the band. Ladies and gentlemen, what a magnificent and an awe-inspiring sight. Pomp and pageantry at its very best. We have the headquarters squadron in front, followed by the B squadron, and lastly would be the A squadron. Squadrons will come to their respective markers and turn left and fallen on the inspection line on the orders of their respective squadron Dafadar majors. Headquarters Squadron has Dafadar Satar Khan, B Squadron has Dafadar BT Manesh Singh, and A Squadron Dafadar DR Nalwade. Ladies and gentlemen, is a veritable feast to the eyes of all Delhiites. The worthy Major has now ordered the entire regiment to dress up from the middle, which is being done to the roll of drums by the band. The parade is now getting ready to receive the Risaldar Major of 61st Cavalry, Risaldar Major Mazad Khan. The worthy Major has alerted the parade to the arrival of the Risaldar Major. The Risaldar Major is the senior-most savar of the regiment and is also the eyes and ears of the commandant of the regiment. He has his finger on the pulse of the men and forewarns, thereby forearms the commandant about all the happenings within the regiment, good or bad. He is also responsible for the welfare and morale of the troops and the families of the regiment and has direct access to the commandant for everything. Risaldar Major Mazad Khan, astride Tyson, was part of the 61st Cavalry contingent which participated in the Edinburgh military tattoo last year in Scotland. The worthy Major is moving up to hand over the parade to the Risaldar Major.
श्रीमान 205 और 205 घोड़े परेड के लिए हाजिर।
The Risaldar Major has commanded the Sardars, that is the junior commissioned officers, to come on parade. The band has struck up Astronaut for the JCOs to come on parade. Sardar Sahibans have turned right and are now facing us. The parade headed by the Risaldar Major is getting ready to receive the adjutant of the regiment, Major Atul Gupta, on his handsome steed called Ali Baba, a lovely bay horse who looks equally proud to be on parade today as the adjutant himself. Erect in bearing, superbly turned out.
श्रीमान 14 जैसे 205 सवार 219 घोड़े परेड पर हाजिर है।
The parade has been handed over to the adjutant by the Risaldar Major. The adjutant is responsible for the functioning and discipline of the regiment. The adjutant and the parade is getting ready to receive the second in command of the regiment, Major Sandeep Diwan. Major Sandeep Diwan, astride Valentino, a magnificent warm-blood Hanoverian horse, is one of the most accomplished and certainly one of the most talented riders in the country. The adjutant has brought the parade to Samne Balam on attention.
श्रीमान, एक अफसर, 14 जेसीओ, 205 सवार, 220 घोड़े, परेड पर हाजिर है।
Officers! Pred par!
You can see them coming from the front, looking extremely handsome and cavalry-like in their ceremonial dress, with the band playing Gagotri R. Major Sukhdev Rathore, Squadron Commander, Headquarters Squadron, astride Pasha. Lieutenant Jaideep Singh, Squadron Officer, Headquarters Squadron, astride North Star. Major Tarun Sirohi, Squadron Commander, B Squadron, astride Velocity. Captain A.S. Bath, Squadron Officer, B Squadron, astride Nishan. Lieutenant Rohit Daga, Squadron Officer, B Squadron, astride Tilak. Major A.S. Vandhava, Squadron Commander, A Squadron, astride Rudolph. Captain Rajesh Pattu, Sarvotam Jeevan Rakshak Padak, astride Gulfan. Lieutenant Saurabh Saharan, Squadron Officer, A Squadron, astride Trojan. The parade is now awaiting for its Commandant Colonel J.S. Burke Vishis Seva Medal.
Parade! Samne! Bala!
Commandant's charger New Fortune is a superb specimen with a lovely flowing mane. The combination of the Commandant and his mount, a majestic sight to behold. The trumpeter is astride Chetak. The trumpeters have sounded the arrival of the Commandant. The second-in-command is moving forward to hand over the parade to the Commandant.
श्रीमान, 11 अफसर, 14 जेसीओ, 205 सवार, 229 घोड़े, परेड पर हाजिर है।
The Gidon has been sighted. The band plays the fanfare, signaling the presence of the Gidon on the parade ground. The Panditji, Naib Risaldar N.L. Pandey and the Maulvi, Mohammad Juhair, perform a small religious ceremony and bless the Gidon so that it always stands tall and proud, keeping the izzat of the regiment intact at every time.
Parade! Samne! Bala! Nishan Talab! Pred par! Nishan Talab! Gungun!
The Commandant has commanded the regimental Gidon to be brought on parade. All service personnel are requested to kindly stand and salute the colors as they pass in front of you. Ladies and civilians are requested to stand as a mark of respect to the colors.
Parade! Nishan Talab! Salami deko! General Salute! Mate! Dek!
The Gidon is being carried by Captain Ravi Rathore astride Ringo, and the escorts are Dafedar Sabir Ali astride Gold Quest and Dafedar Shaitan Singh astride Shahin Shah. A moth-eaten rag on a worm-eaten pole. it does not look likely to stir a man's soul. It is the deeds that were done beneath a moth-eaten flag when the pole was a staff and the rag was a flag. Ladies and gentlemen, regimental colors are a development of the banners of medieval nobility, which in turn trace their origin back through ensigns and standards. As in later times, the ensigns of the early man had to be clearly seen in the din and dust of battle, so the colors were made of bright, flashy material to which colored ribbons or feathers were attached to catch the eye. Regimental colors have been the symbol of the spirit of the unit. The battle honors and badges, which are awarded to units in commemoration of some of the gallant actions performed by the regiment, are emblazoned on them. It is because of this that the colors are so venerated. In fact, they are an epitome of the history of the regiment, produced on a silken piece, the sight of which creates a feeling of pride in the officers and men of the unit. Before the colors are taken into use, they are consecrated, and after service, they are laid up in the unit. The parade now awaits the arrival of the Chief of Army Staff. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief of Army Staff, General N.C. Vij, Param Vishis Seva Medal, Uttam Youth Seva Medal, Ati Vishis Seva Medal and AT Camp has arrived in our midst. The Marshal of the Air Force, Arjun Singh, Distinguished Flying Cross, has arrived in our midst. Ladies and gentlemen, the Field Marshal, SHF Manekshaw, Military Cross, has arrived.
श्रीमान 12 अफसर 14 जैसियों 205 सवार 231 घोड़े आपके रक्षण के लिए हाजिर हैं। स्क्वाड्रन खड़ा रहे, बाकी परेड बचाओ बड़ा।
Field Marshal SHFJ Manekshaw Military Cross was commissioned into the infantry from the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, in December 1934. He was first attached to the Royal Scouts and later to 12 Frontier Force Rifles. During World War II, he saw action in the Burma campaign on Sitang River and has the rare distinction of being honored with the Military Cross for his bravery on the battlefront itself. After command of an infantry brigade, he was posted as Commandant Infantry School and also became the colonel of 8 Gorkha Rifles, his regimental home, and 61 Cavalry. He commanded a division in Jammu and Kashmir and a corps in the northeast with a Tadeo as Commandant Defence Services Staff College, Wellington, in between. He was subsequently appointed as General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Eastern Command. He was appointed as the 8th Chief of Army Staff on 7 June 1969. During the 1971 Indo-Pakistan conflict, he showed uncommon ability to motivate the forces, coupling it with a mature war strategy which led to Pakistan's unconditional surrender. He was awarded Padma Bhushan in 1968 and Padma Vibhushan in 1972. He was conferred the rank of Field Marshal by the President of India on 1 January 1973. He retired on 15 January 1973 after completing nearly 4 decades of military service. Field Marshal, along with the Commandant, Honest Charger, are now inspecting the parade. The band is playing Hakroi while the inspection is carrying on. He goes past A Squadron, commanded by Major A. Sandhava. The Field Marshal and the Commandant both pay their respects to the colors of the regiment. The color party being commanded by Captain Ravi Rathore. He's coming up before B Squadron, commanded by Major Tarun Sirohi. Now coming up before the headquarters squadron, Major Sukhdev Rathore is the OC. The Commandant has taken leave of the Field Marshal and is falling back to his position on the parade. What a glorious sight, ladies and gentlemen. Cavalrymen standing proud and erect, medals glittering on their chests, eyes steadfast, exemplifying absolute devotion to duty, spirit of self-sacrifice, bravery, and valor. The Indian Army is proud of them. Commandant has commanded the regiment to march past the Field Marshal and walk, trot and gallop with the A Squadron leading the mounted column. The entire parade has turned right and is preparing for the walk past. The band has struck up the tune Sam Bahadur, the tune composed in honor of the Field Marshal himself. Cavalry was a unit of soldiers that fought on horseback. These swift, striking, wide-ranging forces formed an important part of many armies from ancient times until early 1900s. Cavalry performed a number of other duties during warfare, in addition to fighting on the battlefield. Mounted units carried messages between army camps, provided armed escort for generals, and scouted enemy positions. They also aided their army's movements by carrying out certain screening maneuvers to confuse or even hold back enemy forces. The ancient Macedonians, Persians and Scythians relied heavily on cavalry, as did the Roman army of the late 8300s. The mounted knights of the Middle Ages became famous for their gallantry, dash, valor, and honor. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel J.S. Burke, leading his regiment from the front, with his trumpeter following him close behind. Coming behind the commandant is the A Squadron, commanded by Major Abhijit Singh Randhawa on Turbo, a smart officer who has got his grounding in the famous Deccan Horse. He's the 4th generation Armored Corps officer and has done admirably at the national level 3-day event, show jumping and polo. The Squad 2IC is Captain Rajesh Pattu, who has recently been awarded the Arjuna Award for his achievement in equestrian sport. The squadron officer is Lieutenant Saurabh Saharan, the 6th generation officer and is doing well in fields of eventing and show jumping. The commandant and his trumpeter now flank the reviewing officer on his right. Following A Squadron is the colour party, the Guidon, being carried by Captain Ravi Rathore astride Ringo. Service personnel are requested to salute. Ladies and civilians are requested to stand as a mark of respect to the colours. Captain Ravi Rathore has great potential and will be a name to reckon with in times to come. He has represented India for the Polo World Cup at Pakistan last year, who has represented the country and has done well at the national and international level. Tafadar Shaitan Singh, the 2nd escort, is a rider of national repute. Coming up next in front of the saluting dais is B Squadron, commanded by Major Tarun Sirohi, a +3 goal handicap player, a 2nd generation polo player. He has represented the country at the World Cup Polo at Melbourne. Following B Squadron is Headquarters Squadron, ably led by Major Sukhdev Singh Rathore astride Basha. Regimental crest of 61st Cavalry, the Ganda Barunda, derives its origin from association with the Mysore Pass and consists of the double-headed eagle or Ganda Barunda of mythology. Ganda Barunda is a mythological double-headed eagle of exceedingly great prowess. In modern times, the Ganda Barunda forms a part of the state emblem of Karnataka as well as the badge of the 61st Cavalry of the Indian Army. We are fortunate to have with us some of the previous commandants of the regiment, namely Colonel H.S. Sodhi, Colonel R.S. Kalan, Brigadier V.P. Singh, Colonel R.S. Sodhi, Colonel R.S. Brar, Colonel K.S. Jamwal, Colonel Ram Singh, Colonel Narendra Singh, and Colonel Bhavani Singh. The 61st Cavalry has the unique distinction of being the only mounted cavalry regiment in the Indian Army, or indeed anywhere in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take your attention to the far side center of the parade ground, you will notice that the regiment is now changing formation from 8 abreast to 4 abreast for the next movement of trot past. As the the squadrons come in front of you on the far side, you can see the hard work and sweat put in by the savars and horses manifest itself by the perfect dressing achieved by the parade in its ranks and file. A no mean task for a horse-mounted parade. The band is playing the tune John Peel. After the colour party changing into trot, the B squadron has changed into trot mode. I would also like to take your attention to the hand signals with the sword that the squadron commanders are making for the various movements and turns. These signals are basically meant to ensure that the entire squadron is made aware of the action required to be done visually, because voice may not carry to every man due to the spread of a mounted squadron. Ashwa Shakti Yashobal. Horsepower is the supreme power, is the regimental motto. And now we have the A squadron coming up in front, maintaining perfect symmetry in the ranks and file. The Sardars and Savars, resplendent in their ceremonials, proud of their heritage and traditions. I'm sure this sight would have warmed the cockles of the hearts of the old cavalrymen sitting in the stands. It would remind them of the splendor, glory, and elan of an era long gone by. Coming up in front of the saluting dais is the Guidon, and following the Guidon is the B Squadron. B Squadron is located at Delhi and is responsible for all the ceremonial and equestrian activities held at the capital. In addition, it is also responsible for the development of the Army Equestrian Centre. Coming up next is the Headquarters Squadron in harmony and excellent dressing. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India, was often seen riding from his residence Teen Murti to office and the forecourts of Rashtrapati Bhavan. Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had a personal liking for the 61st Cavalry Charger, Prithvi Raj. When the horse attained retirement in 1960, he was asked to come to Teen Murti, where the Prime Minister ceremoniously presented him a horse rug. Horse rug is till date proudly displayed in the Regimental Quarry Guard as one of the highly prized assets. We now see the Commandant, Colonel Virk, now advancing to lead the regiment in the next movement, the Gallop Past. The cavalry reached the height of its effectiveness during 1700s and 1800s with the development of the galloping cavalry charge. This military tactic was skillfully used by European armies of the period, particularly the Prussian army under Frederick the Great and French army under Napoleon I. Through speed and shock, the cavalry charges often broke through enemy lines and forced opposing soldiers to flee. In such charges, the cavalryman's favorite weapon was the saber, a curved sword specially designed for use on horseback. In a gallop, the horses gallop in a leaping and bounding motion. On the first beat, a hind foot strikes the ground, then the other foot and the opposite forefoot strikes the ground. On the third beat, the other forefoot strikes the ground, then the horse leaps forward with all its feet leaving the ground. There you have the commandant coming up before you, proud and dignified. The thundering of the hooves, the fluttering of the pennants, the snorting of the horses, the jingling of the chains, the glittering drawn swords, the erect posture of the cavaliers, the magnificent attire. A sight which will be imprinted in our minds for years to come. This is what the cavalry was and is all about. 61st Cavalry is the forebearer of all what's ceremonial and traditional in the armed forces and is an amazing showcase of the Indian Army, a regiment which has no parallel anywhere in the world. A sight which would make the adrenal flow and make the hair rise. Perfect symmetry in rank and file. The parade is advancing 14 steps in review order on the orders of the Commandant. The band is playing Deshon Ka Sartaj.
Parade! Salamat ako! General Salute! Master Deck!
The parade presents General Salute to the Field Marshal on the tune of Our Chief.
श्रीमान परेड को विसर्जन करने की अनुमति चाहता हूं।
The Commandant has sought permission from the Field Marshal to march off the parade.
शाबाश घोड़ा शाबाश घोड़ा शाबाश घोड़ा
भारत माता की
जय
भारत माता की
जय
भारत माता की
जय निशान डालो कुछ का
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commandant has asked his men to make much of the horses to show appreciation and gratitude to the horses who have performed exceedingly well. It reinforces the indefinable bond between the rider and his steed. A glorious relationship, the stuff of which legends have been made of.
परेड निशान को सलामी देगा जनरल स्लेट मध्य देख परेड कदम कदम तेरे खाओ
With the guidon having left the parade, the Commandant has ordered the regiment to march off. The band has struck up the tune Sare Jahan Se Acha for the marching out of the regiment. This brings us to the conclusion of an outstanding mounted parade, a memory that would stay with us for a long, long time. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take this opportunity to relive the glory of the days of the horse cavalries of the past, mounted charges, and the honor and valor of the men who rode horses to war and peace. Hours and days of toil and sweat have gone into making this parade a success. Getting nearly 300 horses into Delhi itself was no mean task. It only speaks to the superb traditions of a fine regiment. All in all, it has been an impressive, breathtaking, spectacular, and an awe-inspiring display of pomp and pageantry. Today's parade was a window to the dynamic ethos of a horse cavalry regiment, the 61st Cavalry.